So first things first, let's go over the gear and certain perks that you want to look for, as well as your gems. So starting off with the artifact you want to run, that is attuned leather pants. Now you can acquire this through the Elysian Wilds main story quest. You have to go and complete the entire campaign. I know, a bit of a drag, but it doesn't take as long as you think. Just bulldoze through it. You know, it didn't take me no time at all. It is definitely worth it because of that one perk on there, well-rounded, plus 10 to all attributes. That is huge. Highly recommend you run this artifact with this build. Now ideally you want to run 2 medium, 3 light. I, on the other hand, am running 1 medium, 4 light. That is just because I don't have a second medium piece of gear that has the perks that I'm looking for. Now, those 3 perks that you really want to be looking for is fire harnessing, refreshing, and freedom. You want to have at least 3 freedom, and I've found that 4 refreshing is really nice with this build. However, you could definitely get away with 3 refreshing and have a little more health. That is one thing that I want to try to min-max, is getting that health perk on a couple more pieces of my gear. So I can get a little more health, have a little, you know, more leeway as far as how much damage I can take, because holy cow, that is one thing I do love about this build, is you can really get up and close and personal, or you can hit him from range. Now, as far as gems you want to slot into your gear, you're going to want to put in opals across the board. Plus 2% elemental damage absorption. Your fire attacks deal plus 2% damage. That is huge. As well as running opals on your jewelry. Having that 2.5% elemental damage absorption across the board as well on all 3 pieces of jewelry. Okay? We will be diving into jewelry in just a moment, but as far as gems go, and especially on the finisher, I highly recommend going with the ignited ruby rune glass. It converts 40% of damage dealt to fire, scales off base weapon stat or intelligence if higher. Hits inflict burn, dealing 8% fire damage per second for 2 seconds, because that is going to mesh well with all of the fire damage perks that you have slotted on your gear, as well as those opals that you've slotted. Now onto the fire staff. You're going to want to be looking for vicious, empowering fireball, and keenly jagged. Keenly jagged is huge because of one simple perk, and that is on the finisher. Finisher harmony. Attacks against bleeding targets deal 15% more damage and reduce Flursh's cooldown by 5%. 1 second cooldown, works on both weapons. That is key right there. Works on both weapons. So anytime you apply bleed on a target, you gain an additional 15% damage. You could also swap out vicious for keen to have increased critical hit chance. Definitely you could go with that, so you were proccing that keenly jagged more often than not. Or you could do is run plagued crits or plagued strikes. A lot of times, as far as the fire staff goes, I would recommend plagued strikes because you're going to be hitting a ton of heavy attacks. And for the finisher, you want to be running either keenly jagged or plagued crits. Now I messed up. I had keenly jagged on before, but I went with plague strikes because I thought I was going to be able to get some heavy attacks in off of a riposte or an evade, and that hasn't seemed to be the case, or I'm just not good at it. You could give it a shot yourself, but it is it's a huge gamble. That 500 dark matter is a big pill to swallow. The reason for plague crits is that disease damage to fight against the healing in this game, especially in season 4. They're ramping up healing, so that is going to be much more prevalent to tap into as far as weapon perks. Moving on to jewelry, stamina recovery, divine health. Stamina recovery is definitely a must-have. Same with divine, and then the extra health wherever you can get it. You need to have it. You know, the more health you get, the better. Going to your earring, running healthy healthy toast, refreshing toast, and nimble. Now you could switch out nimble for regenerating. That will also work as well. Probably even better than nimble. You get even more heals coming from divine, but this is all I have to work with. Now lastly, the ring. We want fire damage, hardy, and especially bloodletting. Having that bleed last for another 32% is huge. That means you're not relying on RNG with your crits to apply that bleed. They last longer, which means your 15% damage uptime is longer. Oh, and I almost forgot, make sure to have refreshing pillar of fire on one of your armor pieces. It reduces pillar of fire's cooldown by 13% per hit, max of 2 hits. And lastly, when it comes to gear, make sure that you have all your pieces into intelligence. But as far as your jewelry goes, I would highly recommend those all be into constitution. Moving on to the fire staff perk tree. This is what you want to be running. Now, the only passive I'd probably switch out, and I've been testing it, seeing if there's much of a difference on which is better, is the clear casting after not taking damage from an attack in the last 3 seconds. Deal 5% more damage. You could drop that and have Kindle applied smaller effects last 20% longer, but I think keeping clear casting is much better. Now, as far as the rapier goes, pretty simple to go off of. You're just gonna get one passive over in the blood tree. On guard, deals 10% more damage when your target has greater than 50% health. So this is what we are looking at for attributes. We're gonna be running 25 dex for the bonus of 5% critical hit chance, 25 focus for the 5% ability cooldown reduction, so huge, and then 150 con to give us a little bit of critical damage resistance. That 10% is massive. Now, as you can see, we are fully tapping into intelligence, running 467 attribute points. We want as much damage as possible. Like I was telling you, burst is key with this build. If you're able to burst down your opponent before they can heal, the better. I have found that the more you tap into intelligence when running fire staff finisher, I'm telling you, you're gonna have way more of a benefit than spreading out your points. I've been having a blast lately with this build. If I make any crazy changes to the build, I will definitely make an updated video for it. If you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. Go ahead and put fire staff in the comments if you made it this far in the video, and also let me know how you're liking the build and the changes that you made to fit your play style. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch y'all on the next one.